Safe and reliable weight handling is critical to the operation of the Navy. Each day, the Navy uses its inventory of weight handling equipment to service ships, submarines, aircraft, and shore facilities to support the Navy's worldwide commitment. These weight handling operations take place at hundreds of naval activities, involving thousands of cranes, thousands of personnel, and tons of rigging gear. Safe performance during these operations is key to eliminating damage to equipment or personnel injury. Mobile cranes make up approximately 8% of the Navy's crane inventory, yet they account for almost 40% of all crane accidents. More than half of these accidents have occurred without a load on the hook, and mobile cranes are involved in some of the most serious accidents. The Navy Crane Center reviewed mobile crane accidents occurring at Navy shore activities between 1998 and 2003. During that period, there were 433 mobile crane accidents, including 83 collisions, 38 dropped loads, 44 two-blockings, 38 overloads, and 22 personal injuries. The results of the study show that 93% of mobile crane accidents are caused by personnel error, including improper operation, improper rigging, and failure to follow established procedures. Clearly, the everyday decisions made by members of the crane team will have a significant impact on making every lift safely. Mobile crane operation is one area where better decision-making could produce a high rate of return. This video focuses on 7 key elements that will increase mobile crane safety awareness for crane teams. Laying a foundation for safety. Teamwork. Mobile crane setup. Understanding crane capacities. Rigging considerations. Safe operating procedures. And traveling and securing mobile cranes. Laying a foundation for mobile crane safety begins with meeting the requirements of NAVFAC P307. All personnel involved in the crane operation must be properly trained and qualified to do their jobs. Mobile crane operators must be licensed to operate the types of cranes to which they are to be assigned. Some mobile crane accidents have been attributed to operators engaging the wrong controller. This may be due to a lack of familiarity with specific cranes. Supervisors must ensure that operators are familiar with specific makes and models before assigning them to a crane. Operators must also read and thoroughly understand the crane operator's manual, including the load chart. Riggers who work with cranes must also be trained and qualified. Supervisors overseeing crane operations must be aware of the requirements for safe lifting operations. They are strongly encouraged to attend the appropriate Navy Crane Center training to become more knowledgeable about cranes and rigging. Selecting the right crane for the job helps form a solid foundation for safety. Using the right crane ensures that an additional risk is not introduced. The supervisor should visit the site and determine the proper crane for the job. The proper crane should be able to lift and set the load without exceeding 80% of the crane's capacity at the required radius whenever possible. Activities must also identify complex lifts and develop procedures for conducting them. Complex lifts include hazardous materials, large and complex geometric shapes, lifts of personnel, lifts over 80% of the crane's capacity, 50% for cranes mounted on barges, lifts of submerged or partially submerged objects, multiple crane or hook lifts, and any other high-risk operation. The rigger in charge must be able to recognize complex lifts and follow the complex lift requirements. Activities should use the principles of operational risk management, or ORM, to assess and manage the risks involved with mobile crane operations. The ORM process is a logic-based, common-sense approach to making calculated decisions to mitigate risks and hazards associated with crane and rigging operations. First, identify the hazards. Then, assess each hazard in terms of its probability of occurring and the severity or consequences should it occur. Based on this assessment, make the risk decisions and implement the controls needed to perform safely. Finally, monitor the operation for any changes that might present new hazards. For most routine lifts, the process is an on-the-run mental or oral review of the situation and implementing the necessary controls. For complex lifts, the process will be more deliberate and formal. If an accident occurs, stop operations. Place the load in a safe condition. Secure the crane. And contact your supervisor immediately. Remain at the worksite and preserve the accident scene so a thorough investigation can be done to ensure lessons learned can be communicated and applied to prevent future accidents. All crane accidents and near misses must be reported to the Navy Crane Center as required by NAVFAC P307.